the first thing that I'm going to make overtly clear here is that boundaries are what create the entire universe. It's not like, can we have boundaries or not? Nah, boundaries are barriers. You shouldn't do that. They are barriers. And to get pretty high level into spiritual theory for a second, if we talk about the quantum realm that Joe Dispenza speaks of, or the unified field, that unmanifest field of potential is where everything comes from. And before the building blocks of reality actually manifest into the world, there's no barriers. There's just oneness. Everything just is. It is a unified field. Everything's connected. We are all one. Everything is one. That's the theory of the unmanifest world, the absolute, isness, totality, total, whole, wholeness. And so the only way that consciousness as a malleable resource and building block of this material world that we have, if you've ever done a plant medicine ceremony and you've seen the fractals or the atoms of life, the building blocks of life, it really reveals to us what's going on all the time that we forget because we're so in our identity and in our world, and our reality is taking all of our undivided attention. It can be very easy to forget the fact that we are literally mainly space. We all know this from physics, that all solid objects are mainly space. It's just energy. We're just all vibration. And we understand that as a truth because we can see it if we zoom in enough in the microscope that we're mainly space. But how on earth does that relate to us living in the world if we're mainly space? Yeah, cool. Hear that. But if I open palm slap you in the face, it's going to hurt. And so whenever I've seen beneath the veil and pulled back and look under, and I'm in a plant medicine ceremony and I'm seeing the fractals, I'm looking at my hand, I'm looking at a stick, looking at the rocks on the ground, looking at my drink bottle, and everything is made of the same consciousness. I can see it. And then I've had this revelation many times, especially earlier on in my journey of doing plant medicine, that, wow, I'm not as unique. I am super unique, but I feel a little bit less big because I can see that everything's made of the same stuff. And there are billions and billions of different things made of the same stuff. And it kind of made me realize, holy crap, I am a drop in the ocean. Metaphorically speaking, I am a drop in the ocean, and the ocean's filled with billions of potential drops. Okay. So hold that thought. Plant medicine. I reference it here and there in this podcast, but I don't really give too many guidelines around it or suggestions around it. And I'm just going to give a strong recommendation to only do it if you have professional, extremely experienced guidance during a sacred ceremony format. AKA, you could go to a ayahuasca center like Rhythmia in Costa Rica, which is a very professional setup, and you could do it in a space that feels really safe. The second piece that I will say is not only doing it with a super experienced shaman or maestro or leader that can hold space and facilitate, but one that you personally in your own knowing in your own body feel incredibly safe around, if that's something that you feel called to. I don't think plant medicine is a necessity for someone to continue to expand on their spiritual path. I think it's an option, and it's one that has benefits and drawbacks. Some of the drawbacks is that it creates a bit of a gap between awareness and embodiment. If someone does lots of plant medicine, they're going to have this really big divide within them where they whiplash between their awareness in certain states, but then their nervous system is not attuned to that state. And so they walk around actually feeling worse than what they did before doing it, because the distance between what they know and what they can actually hold as a reality, as a state of consciousness, is completely different. That can be really, really detrimental for someone's quality of life, and actually not speed up their journey, can actually slow the journey. And so slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And I wouldn't recommend doing plant medicine any more than like 3 times a year, and then really deeply integrating if you were going to do it. But what, in my opinion, is significantly more powerful and integrative is a twice daily meditation practice. And you need no substance in your body. And the integration is so powerful and palpable because you step into actually a deeper state than you do in plant medicine when you transcend with Vedic meditation. And there's no substance, and you touch it twice a day. You, in your day, normal consciousness, touch complete enlightenment back to your day, and you can kind of bring 0.01% of that enlightenment into your day. And then later in the day, you touch it again. And then you leave that second meditation of the day having touched enlightenment briefly, and you can integrate 0.01% of it again. And you do that daily over multiple years, and your state of consciousness is steadily and solidly evolving. Okay, so a little sidetrack there. The whole point of what I was saying is, if you can see that the building blocks of reality is consciousness shaping itself, then what stops it from just, if everything's just one, how am I different to the drink bottle? And the answer is, in manifest reality, the most powerful force in the universe is ignorance. Ignorance is a force that deludes us into believing that we're separate. And that conditioning, that energy of ignorance is what holds us separate and creates that divide. In other words, there are boundaries between us and other things in the material world. Now, if we didn't have ignorance, if we didn't have boundaries, there would be none of this. We'd just be oneness. We'd just be all floating. Like, imagine your body just disintegrates into all these different atoms and just merges with the laptop, merges with the walls, and your brain's gone. It's disintegrated. The only thing that allows us to have this experience of life is boundaries. So boundaries are the human condition. It's a necessity for safety.